Hey guys, so I wanted to do a video about being gendered at work, and what that has come up as. So, for those of you who don't know, or I don't even know if it's pertinent, but I work for American Express. I've worked there for 3 months, and I love the company I work for, and I really like my job. Some parts of it are a challenge, and I work customer service. I work on the phones for servicing co-brand cards, so like Delta and Costco stuff. So consumer co-brand. And sometimes calls can be really difficult, especially when you're talking about people's money and credit and their ability to conduct business, right? So sometimes calls are really difficult. And there have been some times at work where, I can't believe I'm admitting this on the internet, where I cry because it was so disappointing, or I had a really rough call, or I was anticipating something else with an evaluation, or and this all needs to be kind of prefaced with knowing that I am incredibly passionate about the company I work for, that I want to move up. I don't necessarily have leadership goals, but I do have I want to get into our small business cards, and something I could get really passionate about is servicing small business owners. That being said, I have a lot invested into this job, and I've worked harder at this job than I have at anything else, and I have great scores, and I'm the top of my class, and yet, all of it, I am just invested. So when I have this disappointment, or when something is so visceral to me, I don't know how not to cry, because I just am so invested. I don't know how I couldn't care about an outcome if I'd been working at it so hard and it didn't happen the way I'd hoped. Like this feedback that happened, an evaluation that happened last week, and I still get choked up when I think about it because it was so disappointing. And I worked weeks for it, and I wore a special outfit for it, and every time I saw that I was in this outfit and it didn't work the way I felt like even more of an idiot, it can just be really disappointing, right? So, the thing about crying at work, though, is, and it hasn't happened often, I'm more manly than I'm saying, but it hasn't happened often, but, it's hard because some people know I'm trans, and that I have a goal to transition medically, but I'm not asking to be called Atticus, and I don't bind. Sometimes I do, but not very often. So they just have this knowledge that I'm trans, right? And I fear that the 3 people that I've cried in front of, I think it's been two people, and then one person knew I was upset, but I didn't cry in front of them. That I'm kind of emasculating myself, right? Then I'm going to be seen, they know that I identify as male, and I'm worried that they're going to be like, well, is she really a guy? Because she's crying, and guys don't cry, or whatever. And I know guys do cry, and, but I feel like I'm just shooting myself in my foot, or, just I'm doing myself a disservice when I get so emotionally invested, and I don't know how to turn that off. I don't know how to not be critical of myself, and to not do everything I can to make this as successful as I want it to be. I don't know how not to care about it. And it's become problematic. I come home from work and I obsess about work, and I don't have a rejuvenating evening, and I'm not able to leave it at work, and I come back and I'm just as frustrated as I was when I left, and there is a really high learning curve with this gig, and there's so many federal regulations and service protocols, and this high level of expectation. I mean, I work for American Express. We deliver extraordinary care, and that's what I do. I'm on the front lines. I do it. I do a great job, and the times that I don't, I beat myself up for it, So I actually, one thing to kind of combat this, because it's a problem, it's becoming a problem with my performance, is I bring some trashy fantasy book, and right now I'm reading Aragon, the Aragon series. I'm in the 3rd book, and I just have to escape into a completely different world in order to get away from it. So I am trying to combat that, but I'm not sure how else I should do it. I don't know how you just don't care. I don't know how to do that. but I don't want people to see me as anything any less of a guy because I'm crying, and like I said, it hasn't been like a problem in the sense that I've gotten feedback over it, but it has been a problem in the sense that I fear that it's emasculating me. And I'm like, God damn it, I just want to start tea so then I won't cry, and then I'll just like pick up my computer and throw it across the room instead out of anger. Maybe that's not any better, but so I feel embarrassed, so I guess I should announce that on the internet. But it's interesting like being concerned about being gendered female by crying or showing emotion at work. There was another situation where I was definitely gendered female, and it was by my training specialist, and he knows I'm trans, and he's been really supportive, and just, he doesn't know any trans related stuff, right? So sometimes he doesn't really know what questions not to ask. I got the, are you gonna have the surgery question? And I just clarified. I was like, most trans men don't have the surgery that you're referring to. So no. But if I, maybe we could talk about my wiener after work and you buy me a beer and then we'll talk about it. But, like, are you serious? I'm not going to talk about this with you. But he's always been really receptive, right? But we were having a conversation where he was saying, sometimes you deliver feedback, like criticism, you didn't like this, or you think we can improve this way, or whatever. And you deliver it one of two ways. First way could be like really animated and a lot of inflection in your voice and kind of more jovial and not as serious. So, hey, I didn't really think this was as effective. I would have preferred to see it this way. And just a little bit more expression to the way I'm delivering it. Another way that I deliver feedback, which is a lot more natural to me, is like, hey, this didn't work. Let's do this. And my goal is to have it turn out like this. Like, I'm very systematic in the way that I deal with problems. And that's my natural way of dealing with it. So, in the feedback that I was given is that maybe I could lean towards the first way, being more animated and more inflection and not quite as serious. And I said, I absolutely see what you mean, because the reason why I've started to adapt that way is I know that it puts people more at ease and it's more comfortable to hear that, especially when people are perceiving me as female. And he was like, well, I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I said, no, it has everything to do with it. Because would you tell a guy that he's being too serious in feedback? Would you tell a guy that he's being too stoic? Probably not. And he was like, I absolutely would not. I completely gendered you with that. And I said, I understand that it's not always so evident, the different ways that we gender people, but criticizing me on the way that I deliver feedback and that I shouldn't be as stoic or as serious, or the way that I naturally do it, is totally gendering me. That being said, I will action what you say. I will be more animated, and I do want to put people at ease especially when we're talking about something that's serious and that I take seriously. But my natural way is to say, this is the problem, this is a potential solution, and this is how I want it to turn out differently. Like, that's the way I am. That's my natural way. So it was interesting. It's interesting to think about the different ways that we're gendered. And 2 weeks ago, I had a migraine, and I ended up missing 3 days of work for it. And like, I had like face aphasia and everything. It was a really intense migraine, right? And I haven't had one in a while, but they always coincide with my period, and that's through the board or across the board, you'll see that with female-bodied people getting migraines during their period, right? So I had missed like 3 days of work, and I come back and I feel pretty good, and like I was taxed physically from the encounter of being sick for 3 days, and it's such a complete body experience, a migraine is. But the same guy, he was like, do you get them often? He said, no, I mean, it's a hormonal thing. So it doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it takes a while for my hormones to readjust. And he's like, have you started tea? Because he knows I'm going to, right? And I was like, no, I have hormones in my body. Like like I can have a hormone thing come up that has nothing to do with me injecting testosterone. Like, and so I just said, well, what I mean when I said it was a hormone thing, I had to wait 3 to 5 days for my hormones to get back to where they are normally. I wasn't going to spell out I was on my period, but I might as well have, because 3 to 5 days he caught on, right? But it's just interesting that, like, now that he knows that I anticipate and I want to transition, that's the first place he went to. Oh, you got this migraine because you had testosterone, because you're talking about hormones. But I have hormones. Like, why would I have to, like, clarify that I have hormones? It's just funny. It's funny, the different ways that, and that's more of a, I don't know really what category that falls under, but that's not necessarily being gendered. It's being assumptive, I suppose, which I suppose being gendered is assumptive. But yeah, so there's nothing like admitting to the internet that I cry at work. God damn it. But there you go. I do. And I gotta fix that. Okay, well, what do you guys think of my hat? I think it's pretty cool. It's wicker. I think that's even cooler. Okay, talk to you guys later. Bye.